Hello. I have to excuse the noise here. I'm well, maybe it won't be too bad. I have to go on the road as I walk Tuco toward the river because somebody ploughed the field. And yeah, I have to go this way. Anyway, today is the 8th of March, and I thought this would be a good, well, the weekend that's just passed. I thought it would be a good one to document. See, we've just returned. It's okay, Tuco. Ale, no, stop. Tuco, where are you going? Go back the way you came. Ale, go on. Yeah, we've just been down with Isabel. We went Friday. And stayed there for the weekend. And it was kind of eventful in a psychological way. Not drinking or anything, thankfully, but fuck, it was kind of tough. First of all, I drove the way up, and I went, instead of going toward direction Cisteron, I went all the way to Gap. So we had about a 40-minute delay from my detour. And then when we got to Isabel's place, it just kind of seemed everybody wasn't in the best form. And then Saturday night, or Sunday night and Monday night, anyway, it was 2 nights, we discussed my situation again like we did with Christine, but kind of much worse this one. And I don't know, it was basically I was explaining a little bit about Jung's idea about a person like me being dependent on the feminine side and the mother syndrome. And it was just kind of, they were both throwing these solutions at me, like, you need to just go to London and get a job. And like as if that was the simplest thing in the world, just pack up, go. And then during all of this, it's like, again, at one point, says, you need to go back to Ireland. You need to go back. We'll find out about what you need to do to get back to Ireland. But you can't stay together anymore because you need a break from each other, and you need to. And honestly, by the end of the night, I'm thinking, has Flo kind of secretly said to Isa that she just wants to get rid of me as quickly as possible, and can Isa help to literally book a flight, get him out, or convince him to go to London to get a job? And of course, at the end of the night, I got quite annoyed because it's the same. You need to pick up the phone and just call this person, that person. Why don't you just go and spend some time with David? I can't express how difficult these things are for me, and no one seems to believe me when I try. They just say, wow, that's ridiculous, you've just got to do it. And then Flo goes on about, I don't want to travel because I have to do all this stuff. And even though I probably wouldn't mind trying to do the stuff, but I wouldn't do it. Well, actually, after seeing some of the things that have gone wrong in the past with Flo's booking, maybe I would do just as good a job on it, who knows. But at that point, even Mary Lou's getting into the act, saying, God, what a baby. He can't book a holiday, he can't do this, can't do that. It was a bit of a mental beating. Of course, I wasn't disagreeing. I was agreeing. I was saying, well, this is the problem I have, blah blah. But I could have done with just. It's that thing you most want, kind of, in those situations. There's a little reassurance. Plenty of advice and stuff, and what might be a good idea, but reassurance. don't worry, it'll be fine. You'll just have to figure out what you want to do. Instead of people throwing solutions at you like, why don't you just go now, get in the car, drive to some airport somewhere, just go to London and get a job. As if they were telling you to just go down the road and pick up a packet of biscuits. It's like it's completely uprooting your whole life, basically, from one place to another. It's difficult. Been here for 10 years. And then the other thing, and they just can't seem to understand this. They say, go and find Ron. You just live with him for a while, Chase down Claudia wherever she is, move in with her. I just couldn't do that. I don't have to go back with Claudia. It's like an ex-girlfriend. We didn't exactly leave on the best of terms. Ron is not like Scott. I know how odd Ron is, and I know that the last thing Ron would want, pretty sure, although again they'll say, oh, you're putting words in people's heads, you don't know anything. But I can be pretty sure, my mind anyway, that Ron wouldn't really want to put anybody up. And then here I am, a 55-year-old. What job? Well, he could do the security. Anyway, I don't need to get into it all again. Needless to say, it ended with me kind of shouting at Flo at the end of the night that if it were all as fucking as simple as everybody's making out, I would have done all these things years ago. I wouldn't be in the situation I'm in now, for a decade. So, yeah, it was eventful. And I'm documenting it here on the 8th of March, and it's number 8 here. Because it's interesting. I'd like to see if maybe it was the beginning of some kind of a turning point. Because there's a lot of things in the air, and there is room for change and, dare I say it, growth, maybe, with me and Flo as well, with the situation with the Connemara and the COVID virus and not being open for business, and Flo with the potential to go to India, carry on yoga. Who knows? We arrived back about an hour ago, and you can tell we're still both not in the best of form. And I don't know where my dog has gone. He seems to be in a hurry to get out. He's gone. Ah, there he is. So, what happens tonight? Well, I have to just get on with it. I think perhaps as well. You don't want to be beaten down by your wife. You don't want to be that guy that's walking, 3 feet behind the wife. I don't see many guys like that, to be honest, but sometimes I find anyway, whenever I kind of lose it even a little bit, if I raise my voice at all, if I get angry at all, it seems to be an event, and all kinds of things seem to come out of it, and Flo goes on about, oh, you're angry because of your isolation and because you're in your bubble and we can't go on like this. We don't want to be killing each other because of the COVID virus and because of our situations. And she doesn't seem to let those things kind of just go, It's like, well, I raised my voice and said, fuck it, whatever, because I just was annoyed at that moment. What happens is I tend to think, well, the best thing to do would be to really be very disciplined with your emotions. Put that kind of brave face forward, and no matter what you feel like, don't ever, if you can, and this is not very healthy, but don't ever lose your temper, don't ever raise your voice, and don't let people know what's going on in you. I really went overboard this weekend, allowing people into the work I'd done on myself and into my kind of take on things, which I think makes perfect sense. But in saying that, I really put myself well down, really, you know. I think it's honest, but it doesn't, I don't come across, I don't think, in any way heroic by being honest. By saying I'm like this kind of childlike psyche. I have a childlike psyche who still kind of sees a difference between him and the grown-ups, and still has trouble calling the grown-ups, because I'm not somebody who ever felt grown up himself. I'm not sure what good it does opening up that much to people. I'm not sure what good it did this weekend. And I don't know what I was expecting by being that straight, you know, kind of brutally straight, putting myself in the position of just a really stupid child. I wasn't expecting sympathy or anything. I don't think I am at all a victim type person. The only thing that I didn't get, and this is what made me angry, I think, was nobody seemed to comprehend the complexity of these things. They're not just one thing or another, and they're very deep within the person's habits and attitudes and fears, and you know, so many times Flo doesn't seem to accept that. She just thinks, no, it's just a case you just have to get the balls to just do something like that, you know, or you just need to get the balls and the wherewithal to, there you are, to book a holiday for both of us, or go away on my own, or get the guts and the balls and everything else to just kind of go off to London and get a job. And I've never been able to get it across that you know, some of these actions, just thinking about them, it makes me sick. I mean, let alone how difficult it'd be to just go ahead and do some of these things. They just make me ill thinking about them. That doesn't mean that I do nothing. It doesn't mean that I just expect everybody to do things for me. It just means the process is going to take a bit longer, and the process is going to be much more a case of subtle, smaller changes, smaller plans, little things along the way, a trip home to Ireland when I can for a week, and maybe open up and talk to people about that. See how it goes and contemplate the notion of coming back for a bit longer. But I know myself. If I decided to go back to Ireland for a month, I'd arrive and I'd probably be in Mammy's bed that night, and I'd be just miserably depressed because I'd be thinking I'm here for a month and I have no fucking clue as to what to do and no nerve to really contact anybody and no numbers. Hello, Tuco. Who's that? It ain't nothing but a hound dog. It ain't nothing but a hound dog, Tuco. I think for me sometimes the best thing to do would be really to accept the situation. Maybe accept that it's not going to, or well, you can always hope that it could change. You can have some belief in some higher power. You can try and do stuff, but there's also the notion of just acceptance. Problem with that is that I really am getting depressed lately, you know. The Connemara was really a great source of distraction. I had to go there in the morning, so I have to get up at 10:30, 11, which means I have to go to bed at like not a ridiculous hour, even if it's 2 o'clock. And also, we used to, obviously, when things were normal, we worked in the afternoon, in the evening, 6 to 10. So there it goes, more time used up. You just need to have 2 tables of 3 or whatever in the whole evening as you're doing stuff. You're doing these wonderful little actions that take your mind off everything. You're chopping onions. You're making the crepe. You're frying mushrooms and all these beautiful little actions. And what you're not doing is you're not thinking about anything. And then you get home at 10 o'clock. Hey, you haven't spent much time on the laptop at all, so you're ready to go. And then it's bedtime. Now I'm not in the Connemara at all, so all of a sudden I've got this morning spell to try and find something to do. I've got this long afternoon. Clocks go forward in a few weeks. And I've got the evening. And I find there's very little to keep me interested. And a lot of time to think on, well, where do you go from here? Suppose the Connemara, like Flo wants it to be over. What do you do then? It's not that you need a job just for the money. You need a job for something to do. That's probably more important than the money. You all right, Tuco? Shall we go back? Let's go back. So this is the 8th of March, 2021. And I don't know what time it is. I can look at the sun and kind of pretty confident it's about 5:45, 5:45. There's a whole selection of these audio tapes. I don't know how many years anybody's got left, but it might be interesting in the future to listen to this one put it in its place, context. Because right now, as I'm giving out the words here, this is the present. That's the image I used to have. This is the guy on the surfboard on the wave. This is we're all on that crest of that wave, you know what I mean. I know what I mean. We're all at that same moment. That this is the moment of existence. Everywhere in the world, when you think about it, it's a strange thing. It can be, if you think about it enough. Everybody's experiencing this moment, not the same moment as me, but this time Half the world is asleep dreaming and the other half is awake, but there is only one moment of existence when time and existence are together. And right now I'm on that line with everybody else. I am here on this day at this hour as the sun is sinking in the west. And Flo and her Isabel and my mother and everybody else, they're all having their own moments. They're all having their present moment at this time. But when I listen back to this, it'll be history in the past. Maybe a couple of weeks or a couple of months or years, who knows. I don't know how these things will age. Kind of hoping that the things I'm talking about now will, like other things, have kind of worked themselves out some way, and my life will be, well, let's say maybe I'll have found some other interests and ways of spending time that are beneficial to me. Maybe I'll have met a few. We'll change. Maybe we won't be here anymore. We'll be in another town. Maybe I'll have met a few English people. Maybe we'll get together every now and again, and they'll drink or not, and I won't drink, obviously, and we'll discuss things and we'll laugh, and we'll all relate to each other because we'll have a similar story about coming over here. Something like that would be good. Maybe I'll have another job which is something I don't have in my consciousness or awareness now. But maybe then I'll be thinking, well, you couldn't have seen this coming. You couldn't have seen what a perfect job you'd end up finding for yourself. Something perfect. A job which combines the work and earning the money and also perhaps some kind of social side with the group there. Who knows? I hope that would be the story. Or it could just drag on here. Connemara may open again in a few months and things could go back to the way they were. It might all just be digestion, although the strange thing about this weekend is that everybody was in bad form. I mean, everybody was down, it seemed to be. It seemed to be like a virus of depression in the air. See, right now even I'm thinking about tonight and what to do. I always have this vague idea about getting wrapped up in Anno 1800. It's like I'm willing the game to hook me again, and I have started a playthrough with two islands, and I had planned to just build lots of things, but I just can't seem to get into it. Other than that, it's chess. Chess. The thing about chess, of course, is that when I win, it's a little relief from the way I feel, but I don't always win. And when I lose, it just makes me feel worse than I already feel. Especially, I was playing a chess match before we left, and I really ran out of time. I had just seconds left. And of course I had I think I had something like 2 rooks and a queen against 1 rook and a lot of pawns. If I'd had the time, I mean, it would have been... Well, it's like, honestly, who loses? in that, and I didn't lose as such, but I lost on time. I just couldn't find a way to get the checkmate because the guy had some pawns around his king. And I have to say, it really pissed me off that it just takes I have to kind of turn off the screen, from the chess, or go to a different screen. And it just takes about 30 seconds, 40 seconds, just for the terrible feeling to just go away. It doesn't take long, because you forget. Right now, I've lost 100 chess matches in the last 2 months, but I'd be hard pushed to remember any of them. It all fades away very quickly. But at the moment, it's if you're in great form, it's easier to take, but if you're in bad form, it's worse. Anyway, hey, that's 26 minutes. Maybe I can get it to 30. Half an hour. You that dog? Must be over in St. Pancras. It's a nice evening, big sun in the sky. Also some clouds, very still. Chilly though. My stomach feels bloated again. Anyway, I'm not going to bother waiting for the 30. What's the point? I should just sign off and say, always look on the bright side. Let's hope things pick up in the future.